Well, thank you for coming to hear my story. It's a story about giving up attachments and leaving an unsavory environment, like Caroline said, kind of along the lines of getting outside of the box. And sometimes you don't even know you're in a box, or in this case, my story is getting out of a bottle. Not the drinking kind of bottle, but you'll see in the story. The story starts in the mid-1800s. Myself and a small group of men decide to go into the pirating business. We get together and we steal a Spanish galleon. It seems funny and a crazy idea, but we pulled it off with no casualties. We went up and down the coast, robbing and pillaging, mostly honest pirate work, but we did do a couple of dishonest things because we got involved in politics. Over time, we filled the hull of the ship with gold and silver, pieces of 8, gold doubloons, and all kinds of other treasure, jewels that you couldn't even imagine. We were rich beyond our wildest dreams. This particular morning that I'm talking about, though, was the morning after a big storm. We had so much weight in the ship, and the ship had become weak from many battles and taking cannon fire while we attacked some port or other ship. The hull had cracked open and we were taking on water. We were going to sink. I decided to take a firm grip of the wheel at the helm and go down with the ship. I watched quietly as my men scrambled to the lifeboat, abandoning me and the ship, but they did, to their credit, call out to me, "Captain, come with! Get in the lifeboat and save yourself!" I waved them on quietly. The captain always goes down with his ship. Besides, I'll never leave my treasure. I'm going down to the bottom, and I'm going to haunt that treasure for the rest of eternity. Not even Robert is going to find it. That's good. The boat started to dip below the waves. I watched as the bow of the boat descended. The water came up my body. I felt it past my ankles and up to my chest. Right about the time when the water got to my chest is when my parrot decided to make its leave. I never really cared for that parrot. He only said one thing. He would squawk in an unbearable way that I can't even mimic and say, "A fool and his money! A fool and his money! Squawk! A fool and his money!" I was glad that he left, even though my impending death was upon me. The water went over my head as the ship made its final descent into the dark sea, and my lungs filled with cold water, and I passed out into blackness. Now you'd think the story would end right there, but no. The next thing I knew, I was bent over the side of the lifeboat and someone was pounding my back. I was coughing up water and gasping for air. One of my brave crewmen decided to swim down and save my damned life. I was pretty upset. I said, "My pieces of 8, my gold doubloons, mark the spot, I have to get back." No avail, I was too weak, and my men were determined to row for land. Now little did I know that we weren't really that far off. It was only moments when I heard a loud clink as the boat hit the shoulder of the bottle. You might be figuring out right now that we were actually a ship in a bottle. We were in an environment that we didn't even know we were in. We scrambled out of the lifeboat into the neck of the bottle, and we took an oar and we rammed the cork out of the bottle. With a big pop, it lands on the shelf down below. We all lowered ourselves with the anchor rope and stood on the shelf in awe. We were standing in the middle of a giant antique store. We were wondering, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And that's when I saw it. On the end of the shelf was a gleaming blue airplane. I walked over to it and stared, thinking, oh my gosh, I think I know just what to do. I grabbed the prop and gave it a big spin. It didn't start, so I decided to give it another try. No? Well, maybe one more time. I'll go again. She roars to life, the propeller's spinning. I'm starting to think I better get away from the propeller or I'm going to lose an arm. I made my way back around and got in the cockpit. I studied the controls. I saw the rudder pedals for right and left and the stick for down and up. I saw the throttle control. It's right about then that the Parrot made its re-entry. That Parrot always had a knack for finding a clean windshield. I advanced the throttle and the wind of the propeller blew the Parrot back behind me. And the airplane started to careen down the shelf. I knocked over a silver thimble set and a big stuffed bunny. Now you would think that's not a big deal, but when a stuffed bunny is that big, it can be pretty menacing, especially when it's falling right down on you. But I made it past the bunny in the nick of time. I got to the end of the shelf, and suddenly I was airborne, flying around this antique store. In big arcs, there were chandeliers and a giant stuffed ostrich to navigate. That's about when I heard a ding ding, and I realized that was the sound of the front door opening as a customer came in, so the clerk would know there was a customer in the store. I realized that was my big chance to make my escape. So I went into a steep dive for the front door, just in time to see the lady with the feathers in her hat duck a little, and I clipped off the top of her feathers as I went out the door, and I was in the blue air, flying over the city. I could hear my men cheer as I left. Now, you're probably wondering if the Parrot made it out of the store. But actually, no. The last I heard, the Parrot was still in the store, trying to strike up a romantic relationship with an ostrich. The moral of this story is, sometimes even if you don't want to, it's a good idea to get out of your bottle, or out of your box, or out of your environment, try something new. I found it very interesting that when I let go of my attachments and my treasure, that I was propelled into a new adventure. Little did I know, I was flying right into World War I. But that's a story for another time. I'll share that adventure later. I hope you can find an opportunity in your life to step in a new direction or fly. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, way up high, up into the sky.